The sun was setting across the dusty streets of Goshen, casting long shadows into our small courtyard. I knelt there for a long time, my hand trembling as it rested gently on the head of a young lamb we had kept in our home for the last 4 days. Moses had delivered the instructions to the elders with strict precision. Every household had to select a 1-year-old male. We had to examine it daily, searching for any flaw or defect, making absolutely sure it was perfect. All around me, filtering through the mud brick walls, I could hear the soft bleating of other lambs. Thousands of Hebrew families were kneeling in their own courtyards, preparing for the exact same ritual as the twilight deepened. My eldest son stood beside me, watching. He was marked to die tonight. The only way he would survive until morning was if this innocent creature surrendered its life in his place. We had been pushed to this extreme because Pharaoh refused to yield. Time and again, Moses had warned him to let the Hebrews go. Time and again, the absolute power of the Egyptian throne hardened its stance. We had watched the river turn to blood. We saw the swarms of frogs, the gnats, the darkness that could be felt. 9 times, destruction had swept over the land, crushing the Egyptian economy and livestock while passing harmlessly over our homes in Goshen. But the 10th plague was different. There would be no swarms of locusts or storms of hail. Tonight, an executioner was coming to strike down every firstborn child and firstborn animal across the entire nation. No household was exempt. Our geography would not protect us this time. Simply living in Goshen meant nothing. To survive this night, we had to actively obey a specific set of physical instructions. I drew the blade. The lamb did not struggle. As its life left it, the blood flowed warm into a basin we had set on the ground. My wife turned her face away, and my children wept, but I forced myself to watch the cost of my son's survival. When the basin was full, my wife handed me wild hyssop branches. It was an ordinary plant, completely common throughout Egypt, the exact same brush we used for basic cleansing rituals. I dipped the rough leaves into the basin. The blood was thick and dark. I dragged the soaked branches across the top lintel of our doorframe, letting it run down one side and then the other. Inside, we prepared the meal exactly as commanded. The lamb was roasted whole over the fire. We chewed on bitter herbs to taste the harshness of our slavery. We ate standing up, our sandals already laced, gripping wooden staffs. We were sealed in. Anyone passing our home, even the destroyer itself, would see those 3 marks and pass over us. The blood was the only evidence required that a life had already been surrendered inside these walls. Midnight came. We didn't see an approaching army or a sudden storm. The strike announced itself with a distant wail, a cry of total anguish that echoed down the streets, followed by another, and then another, rolling across the Egyptian districts. It hit every level of their society simultaneously. The screams came from the wealthiest estates of Pharaoh's court, where the heir to the throne lay dead, all the way down to the deepest dungeons, where prisoners found their oldest sons lifeless in the dark. I pulled my own son tightly against my chest. I could feel his heartbeat, steady and strong. Through our thin mud walls, I heard our Egyptian neighbor, a man who had shown us kindness for years, sobbing over the body of his boy. My son was not better than his. We were not spared because of our own morality or goodness. We survived for one reason only. We had painted the blood of a substitute on our home. The lamb couldn't save itself, and we had no way to shield our own children. We just waited in the silence, our survival resting on nothing but the red stain on our doorposts. Dawn crept slowly over a shattered empire. Every household without the mark was mourning. The loss was so absolute that Pharaoh himself summoned Moses. His arrogance was finally broken, and he gave a single, unconditional order: go. There was no time to pack properly or gather provisions. We were given barely an hour to mobilize. Families swept up whatever they could carry, rushing to join the massive columns of people. My wife grabbed the dough she had prepared the night before. There had been no time to let it rise. We would have to bake and eat unleavened bread for days in the desert, a permanent physical artifact of this night for generations. Every time we eat that bitter bread, we remember the speed of the departure. We had endured 400 years of grinding bondage, and then, in the span of a single night, we were pushed out into freedom. I joined the vast, streaming crowd of Hebrews moving eastward. We were turning our backs on the wealth, the monuments, and the only civilization most of us had ever known. Before turning the corner, I looked back at our home one last time. The morning sun was baking the crimson streaks on our doorposts into a dry, crusty brown. Even now, I don't pretend to fully grasp the mechanics of it. I don't know the exact reason why the creator of the universe accepted a substitute, but I know the result. I looked at the blood, and then I looked at my living, breathing son. We didn't negotiate our release or fight an armed rebellion. We just walked, leaving 400 years of grinding slavery behind us, all because of the blood of that one lamb